One of the most quietly destructive ideas we inherit from modern culture is the belief that there is something fundamentally wrong with us, that we are unfinished projects, broken machines in need of constant repair. And this belief disguises itself as self-improvement, ambition, discipline, and growth, but underneath it carries a subtle violence against the self, because it begins with the assumption that who you are right now is not enough. And when you live from that assumption, every effort to improve yourself is secretly an act of self-rejection. And so you chase better versions of yourself the way one chases a mirage, always convinced that peace, confidence, or worthiness exists just one step ahead, just after you fix your habits, heal your trauma, master your thoughts, optimize your life. And yet the moment you arrive, the goalpost moves, because the identity of someone who needs fixing can never be satisfied. And this creates a peculiar kind of suffering, not the sharp pain of loss, but the dull exhaustion of never being at home with yourself, of always standing one step away from your own life, evaluating it, correcting it, managing it. And this is where the wisdom inspired by Alan Watts offers a radical reorientation, because it asks you to question the very foundation of the struggle, to ask not how can I fix myself, but who is it that believes they need fixing in the first place. And when you sit with that question long enough, without rushing to answer it, you may begin to notice something unsettling and liberating at the same time, that the self you're trying to improve is not a solid entity at all, but a collection of memories, habits, labels, and stories woven together by thought. And this imagined self has convinced you that it stands apart from life, that it must control, improve, and justify its existence. But in reality, you are not a thing in the universe. You are something the universe is doing, just as a wave is something the ocean is doing. And a wave does not need to fix itself to become more watery. It is already fully an expression of the ocean. And in the same way, you're already fully an expression of existence, even in your confusion, even in your fear, even in your uncertainty. And the tragedy is that when you believe you are broken, you begin to relate to your thoughts and emotions as enemies. You try to silence them, dominate them, reprogram them. And this inner war creates fragmentation, because the mind cannot heal itself through violence any more than the body can heal by attacking its own wounds. And so anxiety persists not because you're failing at self-improvement, but because you're trying to improve the wrong thing. You're trying to fix the surface while ignoring the deeper misunderstanding, which is a belief that life must conform to your ideas before you're allowed to be at peace. And this belief is deeply ingrained, reinforced by productivity culture, social media, and endless advice, telling you how to become a better version of yourself, as if the present version were an embarrassment. And yet, when you look closely, you may notice that the moments of greatest peace in your life did not come from finally getting yourself together, but from moments when the struggle paused, when you forgot about yourself entirely, when you were absorbed in music, nature, laughter, love, or silence. And in those moments, you were not improved. You were absent. The self-image dissolved, and what remained was simple being, effortless awareness. And this reveals something crucial, that peace does not come from perfecting the self, but from seeing through it. And this does not mean you stop learning, growing, or changing, but that change happens organically when it is not driven by self-hatred. Because growth that comes from rejection is brittle, tense, and exhausting, while growth that comes from understanding is natural, fluid, and sustainable, like a tree growing toward light, without effort or self-judgment. And this is why the command to accept yourself often feels impossible, because acceptance cannot be forced any more than sleep can be forced. It happens when resistance ends, and resistance ends when you see that there is nothing fundamentally wrong with the way reality is unfolding, including the way you are unfolding within it. And this does not mean you excuse harmful behavior or avoid responsibility. It means you stop confusing responsibility with shame, because shame paralyzes while understanding liberates. And when you see that your flaws are not personal failures, but expressions of conditioning, environment, biology, and circumstance, compassion naturally arises, not as a moral obligation, but as a recognition of shared humanity. And from this compassion, intelligent action becomes possible, action that is responsive rather than reactive, creative rather than compulsive. And the paradox is that when you stop trying to fix yourself, you become more flexible, more open, more alive, because energy that was once spent on self-surveillance and self-criticism is freed to engage with life directly. And the chill step rhythm beneath these words is a reminder of this natural flow, a pulse that does not rush, does not judge, does not demand improvement, but simply moves moment by moment and invites you to move with it. And as you listen, you may begin to sense that the need to be someone else relaxes, that the urgency to arrive somewhere fades, and what remains is a quiet appreciation for the strange, imperfect, unfinished beauty of being human. And in this appreciation, something profound shifts because you realize that you're not on a journey toward worthiness. You're already worthy because existence does not create worthless things. It creates expressions, and you are one of them, temporary, unique, and inseparable from the whole. And when this understanding sinks in, even briefly, the compulsion to fix yourself loosens its grip, replaced by curiosity, presence, and a gentle willingness to participate in life as it is, not as you think it should be. And this is where real transformation begins, not with force, but with seeing clearly, not with improvement, but with understanding, not with becoming someone new, but with realizing that you were never broken to begin with.